Let me transport you back in time to the 16th century, to a town called Schilda. At one time, the locals were renowned for their intelligence and wisdom, and so they were often recruited as advisors to kings and emperors all over the world. The problem was that this meant the town was dying out, as so many people were leaving for jobs elsewhere, and so the townsfolk decided that to protect themselves, they had to act stupid. To that end, they devised a series of escapades to prove their stupidity. And they weren't short of ideas. For example, they arrested a crab and sentenced it to death by drowning. On another occasion, they tried to grow their own salt. They were particularly proud of their new town hall, which had no windows, and so they went outside with buckets and sacks to try to collect some light and bring it inside. And there was the time they caught a pike, but they wanted to keep it fresh for a banquet which wasn't going to be for another couple of days. And so they decided to put it back in the water, but to make sure they could find it again, they tied a bell around it. To make doubly certain, they also carved a notch in the boat right above the spot where they released the fish. These stories are, of course, fictional. They appear to have been collected from a wide variety of sources, such as the very similar stories told about the wise men of Gotham. Yes, Gotham. It's a village in England where the locals, according to legend, feigned stupidity as part of a plan to prevent the construction of a highway. Much later, Washington Irving satirically referred to New York City as Gotham, and that's how it came to be the name of Batman's home city. Exactly who translated these stories into German is unknown, but the earliest version of the book has a clue. Take these letters, remove all the extraneous ones, and rearrange what is left. Bingo! There is a real place in Germany called Schilda in the state of Brandenburg. Nobody knows for certain if it is the origin of the fictional Schilda, but it is very close to where the author Johann Friedrich von Schönberg lived. And that's very convenient because he is one of the people who may have written the book. In any case, these stories have given the German language a regrettably useful word. A Schildbürgerstreich is any ridiculously stupid thing done by politicians or bureaucrats. On the local news, if you hear somebody say, "This is a Schildbürgerstreich," they mean it's a nonsensical waste of taxpayers' money. There's the village of Scharpzow, which installed eco-friendly solar-powered streetlights. Just think about it, you'll get there. The town council of Vechta built a full-sized mock-up of a foot tunnel that was planned for the train station, just so that commuters could see what a tunnel looks like. But then they decided that they were going to build a far more expensive footbridge instead, one that has no access to one of the platforms. Meanwhile, in Wiesbaden Central Station, tactile paving was installed, which sent sight-impaired people crashing into information panels. The city of Bochum built a viewing platform specifically so that tourists could get a slightly better view of an autobahn. And in the town of Zoland, a bus stop was built right outside the school gates, very convenient and safe for the children, but then it was discovered that the buses couldn't physically get to it. Interestingly, the English language Encyclopedia of the Medieval Chronicle, written in 2010 as a serious reference work, cites the stories of Schilda as genuine historical fact. But this isn't a mistake, although that would be hilarious. It is a deliberate, fictitious entry, intended either as a joke or, more likely, a copyright trap. From a wide variety of a Schildbürgerstreich is, and that's how something happened. And in a place whose name I can't remember, something else happened. And in the town of what's its name?